The Atlanta rapper known as Cash Out will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Rapper Cash Out and his mother had an enterprise profiting from prostitution.
Jesus was falsely accused. One day, the truth will come out that these things never happened.
John Michael Akeem Gibson, aka Cash Out, born August 15th, 1990. In 2012, a then 21-year-old Atlanta rapper with melodic charisma and a smooth, woozy hook that looped endlessly in your head delivered one of the most addictive records of the year. His name, Cash Out, and his song, Cashin Out, was everywhere. A platinum-selling, radio-dominating anthem that captured the feel of an early trap R&B crossover moment. The kind of record that made the industry pause and wonder if it was looking at the next big Southern star. With his distinct delivery, confident swagger, and affiliation with major labels like Epic and Bases Loaded, Cash Out seemed destined to ride that single to something greater. He even followed it with tracks like She Twerkin', which proved he had more club appeal in the tank. But where many artists take success and build on it, Cash Out did the opposite. As quickly as he came in, he faded out, disappearing from the mainstream conversation without explanation. No major follow-up album, no consistent features, just the occasional mixtape drop and regional club record before silence. What few fans knew is that behind the scenes, Cash Out was spiraling into a world far darker than a stalled music career. He was arrested and indicted on multiple charges, including scrape, sex trafficking, racketeering, and possession of firearms in the commission of a felony. The allegations weren't minor. Prosecutors claimed he led a criminal enterprise using his music fame as a front to recruit and abuse women, some allegedly branded with tattoos of his name. At just 34 years old, Cash Out was sentenced to life in prison, his rap career permanently buried beneath the weight of his crimes. The same voice that once sang about cashing out is now silenced by prison walls, and the face once plastered on radio charts now appears in inmate databases. His is a story of opportunity violently discarded, a rapper who had a rare breakout hit in a competitive era but threw it away not just through missteps in music but life choices that inflicted real harm on others. This is the story of Cash Out, a one-hit star who went from Billboard to behind bars in just over a decade, and why his rise and fall was stunted from the start. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to my man Florida's _finest05 on IG for this request. It's your boy JC StuntedGrowthMusic. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Cash Out is a rapper from Atlanta, Georgia who rose to fame in 2012 after releasing his debut single Cashin Out. He grew up in the city's south side where, like many rappers from his environment, music and street life often overlapped. Before rap, he attended high school in Decatur and briefly pursued college before turning to music full-time. After grinding on the mixtape circuit, he signed to Epic Records and Bases Loaded and released Cashin Out as part of his breakout mixtape It's My Time. The single hit #1 on Billboard's Hot Rap Songs and went platinum, earning him a BET nomination and major buzz as Atlanta's next melodic trap star. His debut album, Let's Get It, dropped 2 years later in 2014, but failed to recapture the same momentum. By then, Cash Out was already drifting into obscurity, with inconsistent output and an unclear artistic direction. Stunt #1, one-hit wonder status came too soon. Cash Out's biggest blessing ended up being his first major curse. When Cashin Out exploded in 2012, it launched him into the spotlight before he had time to develop as an artist. At just 21 with no proven catalog, limited versatility, and a barely formed identity, he was instantly boxed into one sound. Labels and fans saw him more as a vibe than a long-term talent. Instead of taking time to refine his voice through mixtapes or strategic collaborations, he was rushed into the mainstream with unrealistic expectations. His follow-ups like She Twerkin' and Hold Up failed to recreate the magic, and his 2014 debut album Let's Get It arrived much too late and fell flat. The timing hurt him too. Atlanta was evolving with artists like Future, Young Thug, and Migos pushing boundaries. Cash Out, in comparison, sounded outdated and one-dimensional, some would say not really taken serious outside street anthems. His style, a more weaker echo of more innovative voices at the time. He didn't have the creative team or vision to pivot or reinvent, and the industry moved on. Worse, the massive success of Cashin Out created a ceiling he couldn't rise above. It defined him early, and everything after that felt like a lesser version of that one hit. While other artists used debut success as a launching pad, Cash Out never broke free from the shadow of his own breakout, as if it was more luck than artistic talent, and once the wave passed, he didn't have the music growth or personality to sustain interest. In the end, his moment arrived too fast. He got the fame before the foundation, and when the spotlight faded, he was left without the tools to rebuild. The one-hit wonder label stuck for a reason. Cashin Out was the peak of a career that had barely begun. Stunt number 2, no real growth as an artist. After the success of Cashin Out, Cash Out had a golden opportunity to evolve, but never did. Where most breakout artists use their first hit to show range or experiment with different directions, he stayed stuck in the same pocket. Auto-tuned melodies and strip club-friendly vibes. That lane worked once, but music tends to move fast, and by 2014, the industry was demanding more. Cash Out, however, kept giving less. His debut album, Let's Get It, didn't offer anything fans hadn't already heard. The beat sounded dated, the writing felt surface level, and even the features couldn't carry him. There was no sign of artistic growth or storytelling. He didn't dive deeper into his life, background, or perspective. It was party music for someone the party had already moved on from. And without a standout skill, he wasn't a lyricist, didn't dance, didn't produce, and didn't have a strong image. He struggled to stand out in a crowded Atlanta scene. By the time he dropped mixtapes like Different and Keisha, his sound was already trailing behind newer acts. Younger artists were building momentum off social media, visuals, and versatile sounds, while Cash Out remained mostly invisible. His name didn't hold weight, and neither did his music. He wasn't flopping publicly, he was just disappearing quietly, which in many ways is worse. Even in interviews, he seemed unsure of where he fit into the game. There was no clear direction, no ambition to redefine himself or grow past his original formula. For someone who came in with so much promise, his development stalled fast. He didn't fall off because people stopped liking him. He fell off because he gave them no reason to keep watching. A stagnant artist in a fast-moving industry has no shot. Cash Out proved that. Stunt number 3, a double life that ended everything. While his music faded from public view, what truly destroyed Cash Out's career and his life was what he was doing off the mic. Behind the scenes, John Michael Gibson was living a double life that would eventually land him in prison for the rest of it. In 2023, the truth began to unravel. Cash Out was arrested on a disturbing list of charges. The indictment painted him as not a former rapper who lost his way, but as an alleged leader of a criminal enterprise using his music fame to manipulate and exploit women. Women, he claimed, gave consent to the treatment and were well aware of the business they were getting into. Authorities said he recruited victims by flashing status and also, surprisingly, using his mother and other family members to recruit, then coerce women into prostitution. Some were branded with tattoos of his stage name, proof of ownership in a world where he controlled every move. According to prosecutors, it wasn't isolated behavior. It was organized, repeated, and violent. In July 2025, at just 34 years old, Cash Out was sentenced to life in prison. This wasn't a fall from grace, it was a complete moral collapse. Whatever potential he had as an artist became irrelevant. His name no longer lives in hip-hop conversations, it lives in court records. Unlike other artists whose careers simply fizzled out, his ended in disgrace and with irreplaceable damage to real people's lives. The most tragic part is how preventable it was. He had already made it, had a hit, a deal, a platform. All he had to do was build on it. Instead, he spiraled into a world of control, violence, and exploitation that not only stunted his growth, but revealed he was never trying to grow in the right direction to begin with. By the time the music industry forgot him, the justice system remembered, and that sealed his fate. All in all, Cash Out's story is one of wasted opportunity and irreversible choices. He had a viral hit that could have been a springboard to a real career. Instead, he plateaued early, failed to evolve creatively, and ultimately revealed a much darker side that had nothing to do with music. Unlike most artists who fade because of bad contracts, poor management, or lack of growth, his downfall was rooted in criminal behavior that left lasting damage. There's no comeback arc here, and no redemption story waiting to be told. His actions not only ended his career, they ended any chance of him being remembered for anything but failure and abuse. Cash Out wasn't just a one-hit wonder, he was a ticking time bomb, and once the fame faded, what was left was the person he really was. And now, behind bars for life, that's all that remains. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth, more than music, was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.